everybody. Welcome to this episode of Think Business in the series of What Are You Good At that I do with Jeff Gunsberg with Title Connect. Jeff, good to see you. And we are
good to see you as well.
Justin High, calling out of Colorado, originally from London, on your book and your business. All right, so we're gonna start off and talk about your book. The book, I think, is a really interesting topic that I think is relevant for many people. Stress Nation: Escape the Technology Trap, Eliminate Stress, and Reclaim Rest. Let's talk about a couple of things as we kind of kick things off. Thanks for being on the show, by the way, Justin. I think people are more stressed out than ever. I could point to a lot of stats, but I think you'll already do that. People, from what I can see as a business coach in my work world and outside of work, people are very stressed. There's a war. Their portfolios are all over the place because so is the market. They get fed tons of news, much of which they don't necessarily want to read. Many people I know go on a news cleanse, me included, every once in a while because it's too much.
Yep.
And so it makes it hard to, I would say, rest, like the definition of rest. And so let's kind of start off and talk about Stress Nation: Escape the Technology Trap, Eliminate Stress, and Reclaim Rest. But this series is called What Are You Good At? So how did you know you were good at sharing that with other people? And what did you learn about yourself as you were researching all that?
Well, my last company was called Alastin Skincare, and we were experts in developing products that would actually get into the body, so penetrate the skin and get in. Consequently, we sold it to Galderma. It's probably one of the top medical skincare lines in the world today. So we became experts at peptides, experts at delivery. And during that process, my partner was approached by Nestle, who asked us to go ahead and develop a supplement for skincare. And we were really enamored with basically hormones. Everyone was, my partner called me. He was at the swimming pool at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, and he was in his 70s. And he's like, there's people here in their 90s with six packs and pecs. He goes, what is going on? Everyone's jacked. And we started taking a deep dive into peptides, into hormones. And even though we were looking at supplements for skincare, we thought that there was a better market looking at supplements for hormones. And as I did my research, I realized that I just became enamored with cortisol. Cortisol was what latched onto me. I latched onto it, and this was 2019. And I started going down the rabbit hole, understanding the cause and effect. And because of our expertise in delivery, we've developed a line of supplements that help people support their cortisol. Why is this important? Well, it really goes back to a simple cause and effect. When your cortisol is high and stays high, that's not normal. And what that actually prevents you from doing is falling asleep quickly and staying asleep. And why is that important? It's real simple. You make your hormones in your sleep. If you're not sleeping, you're not making your hormones, you can't function the next day at your very best. The book Stress Nation is the why behind all of that. It takes a look going through different parts of history, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and understanding how technology has completely turned us upside down. And we are more stressed now than ever, primarily because of the way we have integrated technology into our lives. And it wasn't deliberate. It wasn't intentional. There's no kind of, misinterpretation what's going on here or devious actions at play. It's just the way that technology has evolved. As humans, we're trying to keep up with it, and we simply can't. We're not designed to. And so we have to learn how to use it for our benefit, not to actually hinder our health.
Jeff, I have one question before you ask a question. That's really interesting. I appreciate that. And I don't think enough people have done enough or maybe know enough about cortisol and what they can do about that for themselves.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about, 2019, that was pre-COVID. We've seen a lot more stress since COVID.
Yep.
Can you talk about a day in the life of you and how you've taken what you've learned and what a day of you looks like based on your own research?
Okay. So part of it was happenstance. I have kids that are in college. They're in their 20s. When I was a young parent, I made a mental note that I wanted to be involved in my kids' lives. I used to go to the gym after work, and when I came home, kids were asleep. I'd miss them, couldn't help with homework. So I changed my routine consciously, and ever since, my routine has stayed the same. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm at the gym by 5. I then come home, have breakfast, get on with my day, do my work. I'm in bed asleep by 9 o'clock, out cold. What I do throughout the day varies. I'm blessed that my work life, my lifestyle enables me to work. I get to go for walks, I get to work out, I get to sit down, do more work again. But I try to do a couple of things. Number one, I acknowledge the fact that I'm aging, and you can't beat aging.
How
You
old are
can't.
you?
I am 51.
Okay. I thought you were going to say like 97, because of all the skin and
I did that in my skin. When I was selling skincare, I was 70 to everyone. I can tell you that. So I'm 51. And what I can tell you is that men start to go through andropause, which is the equivalent of perimenopause, starting in their 30s. That's when men start gaining weight, can't keep muscle mass on. The libido has, in fact, have a tough time sleeping. You know, you get memory loss, things happen. But it's insignificant in contrast to women and what they go through in perimenopause. They go through it in 7 to 14 years. We go through it in 40 years. So it's much more gradual and slowly for us. But nonetheless, hormones are going down dramatically. And so our bladders can't retain what they used to. We run to the bathroom a lot more frequently than we used to, right, Jeff? I see you grinning right there. Right? So we are not having heavy meals late at night. We are not drinking late at night because we're going to wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. Well, as you start to realize that you make your hormones at night whilst you're sleeping, if you wake up, you're interrupting that natural mechanism. You try not to have your food and your liquids later on in the evening. So my meals have changed. I have breakfast, I don't have lunch, and I have a really early dinner, sometimes as early as 4 o'clock, in order to make sure my bladder is empty, my bowels are empty, so I can sleep. Because what I do now, which I didn't do 10 years ago, is I am maniacal for protecting my sleep. That is the most important period in the day as a human being in order to regenerate, to recharge. So I can show up at my very best the next day. And all this kind of mentality that we've had for the past 20 years about, 18, 20-hour days, grind, that's not the way to go. You're making bad decisions.
Yeah.
You're not being able to focus. You wouldn't drive your family across country with 4 hours of sleep. Why are we running our businesses that way? We're not making good decisions.
Right. What was the beginning point of you really identifying this and then transporting that into what your business is now? Like, how did you, because we're somewhat the same age, I'll be 49. And, yes, I wake up to go to the bathroom and, it could be, once, maybe twice sometimes. And, I don't necessarily always follow the guidelines of not eating late or drinking late or, those things, but I'm very health conscious. But there's things that go on. Like for me, I find it very interesting to understand what the building blocks were for you getting to the point where you started to really want to understand and need to understand where this was all going.
I think that's just part of my DNA. I'm an industrial designer by trade. I was Disney Imagineer. I'm always looking to solve problems, and to me, this was just another problem. And I think that's just part of who I am as a person. And I'm always thinking and trying to solve a particular issue. And in my mind, I was just really, really convinced that cortisol was a hormone that no one really understood in the general public. And we were very early. I mean, we're now 7 years on from when we started looking at this. And cortisol's got all kinds of misrepresented terms, right? Cortisol face in the morning was a big thing 2 years ago. And it's just, you're just puffy. You don't have cortisol face. That's a serious symptom for Cushing's, right? And so, social media take things and pulls it way out of context. And so really early on, I was just really, really interested in peptides, really interested in HRT, really interested in how the body functioned and regenerated and healed. And no one was talking about it. And so for me, it was just pure curiosity and then going, okay, how can we make a difference here? Because the other end of the equation is most supplements don't work. I mean, 90 to 95% of supplements really, they enter your mouth, but they don't enter your body, and you just urinate them out.
Well,
And so,
let's
how
talk,
can we develop something that actually works?
so let's talk about that. Let's rewind that for a minute because I am not a doctor. I failed every pre-med class I took, legit. College, I changed my major. Was it for a year? A couple of things I do know, and I have no certificate in this, only because I've been going to holistic doctors for 25 years and Buddhist monks and things of that nature. Is that, to your point, all vitamins are not created equally, and you have to be careful before you take vitamins. A lot of times, people think vitamins, if they're homeopathic or whatever it is, that they're good for you, and sometimes they're not always the right vitamins for you. And I think, how does somebody know, what to take, when to take it, how often to take it? How are you guiding people that way?
Well, we actually did clinical studies. So the first thing that we did that separates us from the pack, and I'm talking like literally 99% off the pack, is we treated ourselves like a pharmaceutical company. We invested heavily into research, into studies. Most companies will say, hey, I've got ashwagandha in my supplement. Here are 15 studies I found online about ashwagandha. Therefore, everything in those studies I can talk about as my product. And that's the big no, because not all ashwagandha is created equal, not all tablet casings are created equally, and so forth. What we actually did is we took our product and we did delivery studies. So we actually measured blood levels in the body when you took the product. We actually took over 331 menopausal women that had no success using traditional or alternative medicines to get in relief. And we put them through a true IRB double-blind placebo study. We also did a single-blind study. We also invited the San Diego Sleep Score Institute to do a double-blind placebo study of 2,000 hours on our products. And all those studies have been published in medical journals, so peer-reviewed, evaluated for their credibility, and published. And I challenge most supplement companies to show me they've done the same. So that's what really bothered us. We wanted to make sure that we could separate from the noise and prove, to your point, that our product worked.
Right. But how does the layman, I just want to get into, like, if somebody's listening to this and thinking, wow, this is really interesting, right? All of this stuff is really interesting. I've seen it, I've read, but doesn't necessarily know much about it. I just want to kind of get into their mind for a minute and answer a couple questions. And that is, one, how do I know what's right for me? And two, is there an affordability of this? Is it for the masses? I don't know the answer. Or is it for the people that have the disposable income? I would think this is what
we designed ours for the masses. I mean, my retail price is $39.99. It's not like $120. You can see supplements that hit 3 digits quite easily. Right. Yes. So we made sure that this was for the masses. It is for everybody. Why? Well, real simply, everyone's carrying one of these. It's a cell phone, right? An iPhone. And whereas in the 80s and early 90s, we had endings to our days, right? We went to work, we left work. Once we left work, you were gone.
Justin, the good old days, right?
Yeah, you were gone, right? Exactly. You didn't have to turn it off because you didn't have the ability to turn it on.
I want to go back.
I do. Those were nice days. Those were great days when you could fly on an airplane and disconnect for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah. Not only for us, but for students and young people who could escape their normal day. And
correct.
Yeah, you used to remember 20 phone numbers. You knew your friends' addresses. You used to walk to them. You played outside. We get it. We all know that. What has happened is technology is so efficient, so good. It has removed that off switch for us as humans. And we still need sleep, sunlight, food, water, etc., but we still need rest.
Yeah.
This has prevented us from getting rest because we haven't modulated it in our world correctly. We are addicted. All of us are addicted.
Well said.
End of story.
End of right. That's that is really well said. I want to get back to that, but Jeff, I know you have a question.
I would ask this. So I would say that based on what you're talking about, sleep is the most important thing that we're dealing with here, right?
Yes.
But you use the word rest. And so I'm curious what you think about meditation and taking those times during the day to rest, where you take that time for yourself, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it might be. For you, do you find the value in that? And put that together with like the full rest, or is that something additional that like like that you see people doing where they can really take some time in their day? Because for me, I probably 5 times a day will take a minute or more, dependent on what it might be, where I sit, close my door, and I rest and like take some breaths and like regenerate myself to get through the rest of my day. Like this happens often, where I have to do that because if I don't, I'm a little nervous of what comes out because I know what comes out. I've seen it. I've done it. Right. So
evil Jeff.
yeah, evil Jeff comes out. And so like I'm just curious, number one, is sleep the most important thing?
Yes.
And then can you also, let's say maybe one night you can't get as much, that you have an event or something that's taking you away. Are there things that you can do? And are those little waypoints along the way helpful in that journey?
Well, great questions. Wonderful. I think in general, what's happened is the modern world is dealing with absolutes, and there's no such thing as an absolute as a human being, right? I think there has to be some variability, right? Because otherwise you're talking about being a Buddhist monk, turning yourself off the grid,
Right.
and living a clean lifestyle. It just doesn't happen, right? So yeah, do I sometimes eat late? Yeah. Do sometimes I skip the gym? Yeah. Do sometimes, I can't sleep? 100%, right? I'm human, right? And I think we have to acknowledge that. So I know a lot of people want an absolute. It doesn't exist, right? We all want a magic pill. Doesn't exist. Sleep to me is the number one thing. Absolutely. I think it's becoming more and more prevalent in the world that people are saying, yes, you have to protect your sleep. You have to protect it. Meditation. Great point. My wife's a Reiki master. She meditates all the time. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And so she sits there and she does a meditation, but then guess what? The dogs bark, the kids call, life happens. And she goes, I was wonderful whilst I was meditating. I've come out of meditation, like one put my hair out, right? I'm like going crazy. And so.
And you can't both meditate at the same time. Right?
So I'm similar to you. We're not designed to sit on a butt 18 hours, 14 hours, whatever you're doing, right? We're just not designed to, and we tend to do that nowadays. So I make a conscious effort to get up every 2 or 3 hours, and I physically leave the house with my dog, and I go for a walk for 15 minutes, and I leave my phone behind.
That's the key. If you can do it, that's the key.
You leave, and
really hard.
It's
really hard.
No, it's not.
No, by the way, my next thought was, I've done it before, right?
Yep.
Like in 15 minutes, will the world end
No.
if I don't answer someone at that moment? They might believe so.
Yeah, but you're talking about something different. You've trained people to believe that when they call you,
I agree.
You've trained people.
That is the main point right there.
I think, yeah.
The more I am accessible, the more it trains other people to know. But the counterpoint to that is the more that I'm accessible, the more business I get. And it all,
if you text someone back after 15 minutes or you call somebody back, you're not going to lose the business.
But I'm not right. I'm not losing the client. You are 100% right.
That's a big takeaway, I think, from today is.
And I think most people, and I can tell you based on, John and all our conversations, like, all my salespeople, myself, think the world is ending if I don't respond to this person. And, I think it's kind of a little bit of a job because I do it sometimes. I'll leave my phone behind. And I'll go walk the dog around the block. But part of me is thinking about, like you have that that feeling of the phone buzzing in your pocket, but it's not really there.
That's
And
the
you don't
addiction.
even know,
That's
right?
your addiction.
Correct.
Right.
That
That's
is
a
your
And so
correct.
that's
That
like
is-
my own thing where like I'm feeling that. And the problem is I've also created that whole dynamic, you
Yeah,
know,
but I mean,
so it's tough.
we expect when we send a text, we want something back. That's the expectation that
Right.
we've all set up. Same with the phone calls.
Right.
Same with all of that. But it is very easy to break, and you're retraining your brain not to be a slave to your phone, your technology, because you shouldn't be. It's here for your convenience. It's going to make you better. You get 50 minutes to walk away. You can put evil Jeff away. Happy Jeff comes back out. And how much more productive are you going to be because you
Right.
thought through what you want to say? You're expecting a call from John.
Right.
And you're like, I got off another call. I'm on another one. I'm all amped up. Now I'm calmer. Now I'm more level-headed. I'm clearer in my thinking
Right.
and my strategy, and make a better decision.
Well,
in 15 minutes, right? Like
Oh,
you can
God.
go through in your brain all the iterations of how you would have wanted to have respond to something, right?
Yes.
yeah.
And you have the choice whether to react or respond. If you
Right.
put the phone down, the reaction is gone.
Well,
So
let me go
now
back
you
to,
can think about the response.
well, let me
that I
go
think.
a little bit into science for a minute here, Jeff, if you allow me.
Sure.
Cortisol is your body's alarm system. It's what's kept us safe. It's what helped us run away from saber-toothed tigers, burning buildings, getting mugged. It's what our body does to keep us safe, right? When cortisol is in the natural level, we're in what everyone calls rest and digest. But what's happening is every vibration, every buzz, even if it's not in your pocket, that vibration, right? You're on the end
It's
top of the
there.
scale
Yeah.
there. Is there.
Yeah.
It's causing your body to be, I'm in stress mode. I'm not safe, right? And what happens in that mode is your body goes, well, do I need a libido when I'm running from a burning building or a bear? No, let's turn libido off. That's why ED medication became everywhere, right? Everyone got it, right? You say, I need metabolism right now. No, I want to store all that fat because I don't know what I'm going to eat next because I'm running for my life. So your body is turning off different systems in your body. That's why we're gaining that extra weight. That's why we've got this thing called visceral fat around our stomach. And everyone's like, I can't lose it. I'm eating right. I'm working out, but I can't lose it because your body's holding on to it because it thinks it's not safe. And so it's very important, those 15 minutes in the sun with your dog, with your loved ones, whatever, helps bring your levels down so that the alarm is off and your body's going, oh, I'm fine. I'm just a little amped up. And so from a science perspective, staying up here, high levels of cortisol,
Not good.
it does crazy things to your body.
So wait, so I want to stay on this. I want to stay on this for a minute because I love the saying that if you don't bring data to the meeting, people just use their own opinion. And what you're talking about is science. So I want to put a little bit more science to this conversation because. And I would think that the listener right now is thinking, okay, I'm hearing about cortisol. I've heard about it. My cortisol, I don't know if they're listening, they may think, I don't know if it's high or low, but I'm more stressed out than I should be. And I can't get out of the fight or flight type of tornado in my body.
Yep.
And so from a scientific standpoint, if you can quantify, Justin, what can people start to identify and be aware of that they can actually quantify?
Yep.
And then B, what is that first step that they can say, okay, I am going to X? I think I just want to extract one thing, which is think community consciously saying to yourself with maybe an ultimate goal of 15 minutes a day, start with 1 minute a day, walk out of the house without your phone and go for a 1 minute walk.
I mean, I think you answered the question in my mind based on what like he might say. Like, I mean,
I know, but I started out talking
it's
about how
so hard
every
to do that.
class.
You know, like that
I
is
don't
the
wanna-
first baby
Yes.
step. Is
That's
to
the
like,
baby step.
I'm gonna go walk my dog around the block for 15 minutes.
I am too.
And I'm gonna leave my phone at home, and I feel nervous.
All right,
Like
well, hold on.
I'm
I
like,
want to get to
oh
science.
my God.
Get to science. All right, so Justin, some science, because Because if somebody reads your book, again, Stress Nation, Escape the Technology Trap, Eliminate Stress, and Reclaim Rest, which people can buy on Amazon.com, or they can go to rebalancehealth.com, which is your website. Okay, so give us some science and things. And Jeff, you have to drop off at 12:40. I know you may have to. Whatever you need to do. Just give some science, some examples of what people can do.
Real simple. You don't have to measure your cortisol. If you're not sleeping, I can tell you your cortisol is too high. It's that simple, right? Wear an Oura ring, wear something that measures your sleep.
What about someone who doesn't want radiation on their body?
Just look, if you had a good night's sleep or not, right? You don't have to have a device.
Right. A full stop.
I know.
Sleep or not. Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Right? If you wake up feeling like crap, you didn't sleep very well.
Correct.
It's really that simple.
Okay. All right. Next.
For me, huge thing. Take social media off your phone. Delete them. Gone. Doesn't exist on your phone. If you want social media, it's on your desktop. It's on your laptop. That way, you're not on the toilet scrolling and wondering, how did 35 minutes go by and my legs are numb, right? That's what people are doing, right? They're constantly looking for information. Get rid of social media on your phone. Use your phone for literally telephone. You need to scroll the internet for something whilst you're out. Absolutely. Email, text, wonderful. But get rid of social media and get rid of games. Just do it. You will find yourself not being slave to this thing anymore. You'll be more mindful about what you're doing and when you're doing it, and you won't lose track of time. The problem is we're not actually being more efficient. We're being distracted by 101 different things. We can be more effective by being more focused. You need social media for work? It's on your computer. That's what you want it for the majority of people. There's always exceptions. Okay? Work out in the morning. Don't work out in the evening, right? Cortisol gets raised with exercise. First thing in the morning, brilliant. Eat within 30 minutes of waking up. This fasting is nonsense, right? Your body will consume your muscle within 4 minutes, within an hour of working out, because it's run out of glucose. Muscle's the first food source, not fat. It takes 4 hours to start breaking down fat. Eat something in the morning. Nonsense.
I would think a lot of people would be listening to that and saying, I've been told so many times that intermittent fasting is great.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Listen to Brecka, listen to Huberman. We're all saying the same thing. It's basic mechanics. Now, if you want to be on a 72-hour fast, you want to do a 5-day fast, yeah, that's something completely different. But
you're cleansing your system. That's
exactly
different.
one thing
different.
That absolutely doing.
I'm removing toxins. I'm doing, that's fine. I think
absolutely. Your body needs fuel. You need the natural food source to give you the energy to function. Right? You can't function without food. Those are some basic things.
Let's talk about food.
Simple, farm to table, and eat less calories than you burn. Everything else is bullshit.
Right. I mean, the perimeter of the grocery store, just real quickly, talk about, clean food.
Farm to table. Simple as that, farm to table. Well, where people go wrong is they're not aware of how many calories they're consuming. A little too much olive oil here, a little too much, protein there or carbohydrate. Oh, this will be no big deal. It's real simple. You want to lose weight? Eat less calories than you burn. Make sure what's going in is quality, which is organic, farm to table type stuff, no processed foods. But
what would you tell somebody though? Like, say you could burn 1,000 calories a day, right? Mm-hmm. You worked out, you exercised. How are you going to eat, like for a guy my size, how are you going to eat less than 2,000 calories in one day?
Well, I challenge you to think that you're actually burning 1,000 calories, because most people can't burn 500 in a cardio session for an hour. It's not tough thing to do. So really what you're talking about is, number one, walking. Walk, and lift weights. You need.
I think it's what I think, and what I was kind of getting to is the activity otherwise, right? Like the steps, the actual. What are you doing when you're not working out, and how are you burning?
Well, most people are on that bottom. Most people are sitting at a desk looking at a computer screen and have delusions about what they're actually burning.
Right. Sure.
Unless you're in a construction trade or something where you're outside, most people are oblivious to what they're actually burning. What my recommendation is, and I talk about it all the time, is just track your calorie intake for a week. You'll be surprised how many calories. Some people are like, oh my God, I'm taking 4,000 calories a day. I'm like, yeah, and you're working out 3 times a week. That's what people realize.
I'll tell you, the only app that has ever helped me lose weight, there's only one. is Weight Watchers. And the Weight Watcher app, because you have to log it, and
Yep.
clean food is 0 points or low points, and processed food is really high.
Yep.
And whether it's that or MyFitnessPal, when you really write down what you eat, it is eye-opening.
Yeah.
There's only
My
one
bad.
app that has
You
made
have
me
a
lose
different
weight.
app. You
And you
love
want to know what it is? It's my brain. There's nothing I can do to
Right.
change what I want and when I want it. And other than, like when I lose weight and like, like I don't need to lose a ton of weight, but like if I want to lose that little gut stuff, like it's when I'm hungry at 8:30, I go to bed.
Or drink water.
Just
No,
go to sleep,
Yeah.
drink water. Your mind tells you you're hungry, but you're not. You might be thirsty, or you might be just
Right.
bored. Right? Like you just might be programmed to think you want to eat.
Yep.
And like that's how I work.
Yep.
Like I know I'm not hungry. I just want to snack on something. I want to do something. I want to
Whenever
whatever
you
it
do,
might be.
whenever you do a 3 or 4 day cleanse or whatever it might be, and you're
Yeah.
hungry, you drink water, the hunger pain goes away right away. So drink
Yeah,
water.
for
That's
sure.
what we need to be doing.
And then God created GoPuff. All right. So
I gotta jump.
Right,
I gotta jump on a call right
All
now.
right, you jump. I want to finish up with Justin.
Yes,
That was
Justin,
really
thank you
nice.
so much. It was
Anytime.
very nice to have you on. Appreciate you. Yep.
Thanks, brother.
Yep.
So Justin, a couple more questions for you. So you're in this space. You're
You've gone
helping
mute.
people rest better. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can hear you. Maybe go back to a different speaker. I'm not sure.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? All right. So I just want to kind of summarize for people what we're talking about.
Okay.
Because I think this, like some of this sounds so simple, it's almost complicated. And
Yeah.
so I just want to kind of break it down. Your book is called Stress Nation: Escaping the Technology Trap, Eliminate Stress, and Reclaim Rest. Okay. Escape the technology trap. You talked about taking apps off of your phone. What else can people do to escape the technology trap?
One of the interesting things that if you go back to how life was when we were growing up, okay, people would compare themselves to people within their circles. What social media is doing is showing really the best of people's lives. Often it's not true. And now you're comparing yourselves to hundreds of thousands of people. And so you have constant FOMO going on in your head. I should be driving a Bugatti. I should be living in a mansion. I should be making all this money and so forth. And that's not healthy. And so there is a wonderful thing that's coming up. I talk about in the book called JOMO, the joy of missing out. And that's about being present, being in the moment, being here right now on this call with you, John, being with me, not heads down. I'm on my phone. I've got something else going on. It's about being present and here and not worrying about that. And if you actually realize what social media is, it's very easy to start becoming slightly disconnected from it.
Yeah.
It's what people want you to see, not the truth.
Yeah.
Real connection happens when you meet someone in person, you look at them in the eye, you have a real intimacy connection, intimacy, and you start building a relationship that's real and tangible. Talking with AI, talking with social media, yeah, it's fun and it can be entertaining, but don't be addicted to it and be mindful of that. So using apps, timers, restrictions. As a parent, I always used screen time to monitor my kids' usage.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me I should be monitoring my own and
Yeah.
use it for myself. And
Yeah.
so what we've learned, and I spoke to my kids before they went to college, I'm like, the average teenager spends 6 hours a day on their phone on social media. Real simple math. 6 times 4.
Yeah.
That's an entire year
Yeah.
of college education, head down looking at nonsense when you could be learning. Save your dad a whole year of tuition, put the damn thing down, get off of social media and study and have a wonderful college experience with people in real life, not on the screens.
Yeah.
And so when you realize what we are doing as a society and that we're completely obsessed with what are they doing, what have they done now, what's that story, we're losing precious moments with our loved ones, our friends, our families, ourselves. And the joy of missing out is something we can embrace.
It's great. And and from that, you kind of talk about eliminating stress and uh,
Yeah.
that, and then reclaiming rest. I like the idea of, and some of you think community may have heard of this, and we've talked about this on this podcast before. But go for a walk without your phone,
Yeah.
and give yourself 21 days to kind of get used to that feeling. I have a policy for my coaching business that I return every call, text, email same day unless I'm sleeping. That being said, I've never met anybody that can't wait 15 minutes, for something that that can wait. I think
Go
it's.
to the
I
go to
want.
the gym without your phone. Go to the gym without your phone. Like, remember what it used to like when you used to work out and actually get to help people and spot and do that? They get out of that. Otherwise, you can spend 3 hours.
Yeah. I take a lot of classes where I work out. I have a club
That's
studio,
really good.
and they have like
Yeah.
circuit training and boxing and all that. You can't have your phone in those, so you have to put them in a locker. And it's great. It's great. I was wondering why. It's funny you say that, because I was thinking, why do I love taking these classes so much? And I think that's one of the reasons, because my phone's in a locker. It's just like 1980 time. 1980 time. Let's talk real quickly in our last couple minutes. Your website. Somebody can go to your website, rebalancehealth.com. Just give me kind of a minute on that.
Yeah, so Rebalance Health, what we focused on are supplements to support cortisol. So technology is not going anywhere. The book is helping you understand the cause and effects and kind of nostalgic look at where we were and where we've come and where we are now. And the supplements have been proven scientifically to help keep that cortisol out of that alert stage and more in the normal ranges that enable your body to go through a high cortisol cycle during the morning, come peak out around about lunchtime, start coming down the afternoon, and gets as low as possible so your body can generate the melatonin. You go to sleep and you stay asleep. So these supplements are little mints that you put in your mouth. They're made with Ayurvedic and Chinese herbs, basically, and they've been proven scientifically to work very, very well for women going through perimenopause. We've actually seen an 80% reduction in hot flashes in a clinical study with women. Better sleep, better recovery, increased libido, better mental health, and mental clarity is very, very good. So really what we're acknowledging is, technology is not the devil, right? It's not evil. It's a wonderful tool and we embrace it. We've just weren't taught how to use it as human beings. We need to get back to that place where we can leverage it for our benefit, but not at the demise of our health.
Yeah. Amen. All right. Quick speed round. A book that's made a big impact on you.
Oh, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I met him real quick. I'll tell you. I wrote
Kawasaki. Yeah.
I wrote a book, and my publisher. I went to the New York convention where it was launched, and makes me sound much bigger than I am. I'm not, and I'm not that. But anyway, I went and I was walking around, and I ran into Robert. I just ran into him, and he was at his booth by himself, and I talked to him for like a half an hour, and then he was the nicest, most approachable guy. I'd always loved his book, so I was so happy. He was such a great guy. Favorite podcast?
Oh, definitely. Oh, what are you good at?
Besides, this podcast is actually called Think Business, but this is the series. Do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah, I do. Chris Harrison Cars.
Okay, all right, good. My favorite podcast is called Founders and David Senra. I don't know if you've listened to it, but it's brilliant, and it's just great. Finish. Before that, best piece of wisdom you've ever received.
It's wisdom that my grandfather told me. He said, if everyone put their problems in the middle of a room, you would pick your own back up.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a great one. Oh, that was great. I love that. I'm gonna recycle that a lot.
Yeah, with pleasure.
What was your grandpa's name?
Morris.
Mars?
Morris.
Okay. All right, Morris. I'll give him attribution. And finish this sentence. One thing everybody needs to do to reclaim their rest is
flirt with their loved ones.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
I like to have my podcast the same way when I'm interviewed. One thing that I challenged myself to do 2 years ago, and it's really changed my life, is I flirt with my wife and I make a mental note to make her laugh at least 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And what that does, it means I put the phone down, we're not watching TV, and we're engaging and we're having fun and we're acting like we were teenagers again, like when we met, and having fun, and watch your cortisol just tank in a wonderful way. Connect with your husband, your wife, your kids, connect with them.
Yeah.
Smile and do stupid shit. You're allowed to. Just because you're an adult, you don't have to act like one.
Yeah, I agree. I do that with my wife. Both of our kids are older. We're empty nesters now. My son graduated college. My daughter's in college. But that's great advice. That's great advice. Tell everybody who your ideal clients are and where they can connect with you.
Absolutely. Everyone is in need of more sleep. You are a perfect client. Help you regain your rest, get some sleep, and enjoy the vitality that you have in your body. You're not broken, and everyone's convinced you that you are. You're not. You're perfect. And you can find all of that at rebalancehealth.com.
It's great. Justin, this was great. Think community. I think the message, couple messages, be conscious of your time with social media. Be conscious of time with your phone and when to put it down, when to go for a walk without it, and be conscious of your rest, because everything begins and ends with rest. Justin, this was great. I appreciate your time. Thanks for all the research you've done to put it all in a book for people to get your years of experience in a book. And then they can go to your website as well, which is, give me your website one more time.
Rebalancehealth.com.
Great. And you can reach me at johndwoskin.com. Justin, this was great. Appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, John. Appreciate you having me.